We get a lot of requests to quote migrating a benefit plan away from a traditional core plan towards a flex plan or a plan with a health spending account attached. So I want to show the work that we go through to actually quote this, and we're going to use some data that the data it belongs to a real company. However, we've removed any of the unique identifying features. So the group number, the certificate number, the company name, that's all fake. But this is an example of a company of 200 people that are actually claiming real, human benefits. So I just want to back up for a second. When I say companies want to see a quote away from a core health insurance plan, typically when I say core health insurance plan, I'm talking about, the off-the-shelf contracts that you're getting when you're asking a standard insurance company in Canada for a benefits package. So I might have a number of items that's covered with individual maximums. So I might say, paramedicals are $500 per service, per person in the family per year. Maybe vision is 100, same thing. Dental, maybe dental is $1,000 for basic, $2,000 for major and ortho combined per year. And then maybe drugs, let's just say drugs are unlimited for argument's sake. So this and then you've got life and LTD on top, but let's just look at the health and dental piece. So, when companies look at this, this is a really, really short form. I mean, really they're looking at, let's say, the first 5 to 10 pages of the booklet that list all of these services and then break it out by detail. And that can be really confusing to people. People will look at that and say, this doesn't make any sense. I would rather just have a flex plan where people can, instead of being told what the maximum is, can just basically, get an amount and here's your spending account. So that's fine. We can do that. I'm going to talk about how we actually quote that so that the company is net neutral, meaning that they're not spending more on the global bottom line basis. They're just taking the dollars that they're already using it and migrating it into a package that is more deemed to be more flexible. This is not going to actually quote a cafeteria plan. So when I say flex, I mean, okay, you can use your health spending account dollars towards something. This video is not going to look at a cafeteria plan. Cafeteria plans can be a little bit more tricky, and so we can dedicate another video to that. But really, when I try to, if a company is kind of teetering on, do we do health spending account versus flex versus core, maybe I just want to talk about the philosophies of each one, and then we'll get into the numbers. So with a core or a flex or a health spending account, doesn't matter what you call it or the structure of the benefits, the cost is always going to be driven by usage. So the cost is always going to be driven by usage. Premiums for health and dental minus, let's say, travel and stop loss. So let's say this plan had 0 travel and 0 stop loss and drugs for $5,000, per person per year. Then literally, these benefits are on a pure experience rated basis if you're over, let's say, 20 to 30 lives, depending on the insurance company. With Beneplan, we actually fully rate people based on their credibility. So if you're spending money on these categories, you're literally on your renewal billed back what you spent plus fees and taxes. Divided by 12 months, divided by number of people in the company, that's your rate. That's your health rate. I mean, yes, we do add some inflation, but there's really no magic to it. You're with any company in Canada, it doesn't matter what it looks like. It's going to be driven by the claims. So you have to really think about it as hiring a third-party company to just manage an expense account. And that company is like, okay, great, here's the cost to manage your expense account in terms of fees, but what you want me to pay your employees is going to drive the total global cost for you. Make sense? Okay, so therefore, there's actually no magic. If you move from a traditional core plan where everybody gets the same benefit plan to a cafeteria flex plan where you're saying, well, this is the bronze tier and this is the silver, and silver is maybe a little bit better than, bronze, and then maybe gold is even better, right? Whatever it is. And then maybe you're saying, well, I want my employees to pay nothing under bronze and pay more with silver or gold. Well, guess what? Those employees, their claims that they put under that plan are still going to drive the rate. So if the rates here are $100 per family, and here the rate is $150, and here the rate is $200, It's literally driven from, well, the claims here were generally probably $170 per person, and so per month, and so add fees and taxes. That's like, I'm oversimplifying things, but there's no such thing as like health insurance, so to speak, if this is the plan that you're talking about. Um, I think you get a psychology or a behavior whereby if you're telling employees, I'm going to pay 100% of this premium, but I'm going to pay 80% of this one and 50% of this one as the company entitled premium payment or sponsorship as the plan sponsorship. Then that's going to drive behavior. So if I know as an employee that I'm going to pay, $100 per month for the gold plan, well, I'm going to make sure that in the year I'm spending more than $1,200 per year because I want to get my money's worth, right? So this structure works really well when you have a huge population or a larger population that can stomach those changes in that kind of behavior, and a company that's saying, I don't mind paying a little bit extra to keep my people happy, to allow people to pick and choose. This is really not ideal for small companies. You can do it, but the reason why it doesn't actually exist for small companies is because I think small companies struggle with finances more than larger companies might, so they're more budget minded. So this is just going to drive people to spend more, which again, if that's okay, great, go for it. So this cafeteria plan, oftentimes when we talk about that, then small or mid-sized companies shy away from that and they say, okay, well, how else can we make our plan flexible? So the other way to make it flexible is to actually introduce a health spending account. So to say, let's move some of the dollars out of your core plan on the benefits that maybe are less important and put those dollars into a health spending account. So when you're doing that, again, remember that your usage drives everything. So if we're going to say, okay, you're spending, let's say $200,000 a year on benefits, you don't want to spend more than that. You just want to make it more flexible. We need to actually subtract benefits from other places because, if someone makes a claim, you're being charged for that. So we have to literally say no to some claims in order to say yes to different types of claims. So let me explain. This is a data set that we downloaded. So it just shows one calendar year of history. The certificate numbers here are scrambled, but they each represent one unit. So this is the employee, and that employee spent $746 on dental in 2018. This is another employee, right? So here's the employee, and these are their dependents, right? So the primary spent $480, and then one dependent, maybe the spouse, spent $511, and then maybe the child spent $282, right? So let's take a look at, okay, what's the global bottom line total here? Let's do a sum. Okay. Here it is. Okay, $111,000 on dental claims. So if this company is in an 80% target loss ratio, let's just call it that, fees and taxes, maybe some inflation, actually dental inflation. Let's call it that, right? So that's their premium. That's it. That's their claims. That's their premiums. No magic whatsoever. So now we're saying, well, we don't want to spend more, but we need to now create a health spending account. So how do we do that? Well, think of your employees as like a bar graph. So let's say employee 1. So Susie, Priya, George, Henry. Okay, so maybe Susie, this is Susie, right? She's spending this amount. Okay. Okay, maybe Priya is spending more. Maybe Priya is spending, maybe she's this unit. Maybe George doesn't even show up on here because his certificate, while he exists, he just didn't make a claim. Let's just say Henry's got $17. Okay, so let's look at the real experience for employees. Okay, so Priya was able to claim a certain amount. Susie was able to claim a certain amount. George 0 and Henry $17. So in order to give everyone a health spending account, you have to define, well, what is the health spending account limit I'm prepared to give? Maybe we want to give $500 per single and maybe $1,000 per family. Just throwing it out there. So you can see that two people are actually net neutral or even happy because they're saying, hey, you know what? George never went to the dentist because maybe he's got a set of fake teeth. I don't know. Maybe he's perfect. He just wants to spend it on massage or glasses. Good for you. Now you have new money to spend on that when you did not have money for that before. But Priya, like her family, actually, she's got kids, they've got braces, they got to get cleaned. She's spending way more than the amount that we're able to provide. And we're going to show you in a second how we actually found, or how you can actually find that number. So you can see that when you draw a line in the sand like that, you do affect some people. So even just eyeballing this, like let's say I said $1,000 is going to be the limit. Well, let's take a look at all the people who spent more than $1,000, right? You can see that. And so what's happening is the people that spend very little, like this dependent spent $28.50. It was like a checkup for a toddler, maybe. They cleaned his like 6 teeth probably. So, this person is not directly subsidizing this person, but what's happening is like if you're paying premiums for this person and it's $100 a month, then yeah, like they're not being charged that. But then this person is also being charged $100 a month in this, model. So you do have a subsidy there. So if you're moving from a subsidy defined benefit type plan to a universal flat defined contribution plan, you have to understand that there will be people, this person, that will be hurt. And, define hurt if it's a perceived hurt, like maybe, do they really need to look at all these 1500s? They're round numbers. So you can see that they're actually maxing out and going over that amount. So they probably actually need more than that. Assuming that the dental billing practices are kosher and they're all on the up and up. So let's pause here. So we know that some people are going to go backwards, but let's just see what we can do. So we've got the claims number here. Now let's take a look at this sample company. So again, Serena Ventures, it's a company that we don't cover. It's just a name I threw on here. So let's look at, well, how much is the company going to save if we actually take all of the dental dollars and the paramedical dollars away and we just stuck it in a health spending account? So the first thing that's going to happen is actually we're going to delete the dental premium completely. Let's just delete it. And then let's delete the health premium. Sorry, not the health premium, the health paramedical premium. So we carved out the amount per single and family that goes towards paramedicals, compression hose included. And the reason why I added orthotics and compression hose is because in a health spending account, I typically think about it as the difference between a need-based benefit and a want-based benefit. So a need-based benefit is like, okay, I need diabetic medication. I need a wheelchair. So that's all in the core health plan that you really do not want to strip away. We'll talk about that in a second. And then there's the want-based benefits. Like, I'm not saying compression hose is not absolutely medically necessary. There's just an enormous amount of fraud there, and you don't need thick compression hose on your feet to live or die, whereas you do need diabetic medicine as a life or death issue. So that's why I'm saying there's want benefits and there's need benefits. So let's put all the want benefits into a health spending account, right? So if our savings here, so this is what they're paying now, and then this is the premium if you delete the want-based benefits. So the difference is $162,000 that we want to put into a health spending account. So you can see how we backed it out. Okay, in order to get to $162,000 after fees and taxes, well, it's $825 single and $1,650 family. So really, it's just, you're kind of just backing it out. Our analyst here probably backed it out and then put it on this nice spreadsheet, but you're looking at, okay, what's the global total? Divided by 1.13 for HST. Sorry, no, HST is only charged on the admin fees. But, let's say you ballpark a, 8.5 or 9% tax rate just to try to blend it over the different tax structures. And then the 2% premium tax and then the admin fees, depending on who your carrier is. Then, so you would say this divided by 1.09 or 1.10. Divided by 1.15 if the admin fees are 15%. And again, every carrier is different. Then you're getting to this amount, and then you've got to take the single factor. So if you know that singles spend 40% of what a family spends, then you're taking